This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Taylor Wilkinson, the Chief Exec of Altona Rare Earths, joins us today following news on the commencement of the drilling programme at the Monte Muambe project. Hi Christian, welcome back. How are you?
Hi Mark, good to speak to you.
Good, yes, thank you for coming on. Now, last time we spoke, we were talking about the drill programme and it was ready to go upon listing, which I think was expected the end of September, and I'm sure we'll talk about that during this interview. And really the purpose of this drilling was to, as you said, start to have a look at what is already showing signs of significant rare earth elements. So have you decided to really start the drilling now rather than sort of be at the whim of the London Stock Exchange?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. We were talking about this at a board meeting last week. The London Stock Exchange listing was obviously very important. It still is very important. But the primary reason for it was to enable the company to raise cash to allow it to go out and do exploration. But we've now raised about £2 million. The last fundraising we did in September, we raised 1.25 million at a premium to the share price. So the fact that we had the cash and the fact that the partners who we were signing the agreement with, Monte Muambe, I don't think they would have sat around for 6 months waiting for us. And it wasn't one of the prerequisites of the deal. So the fact that we had the cash meant we could go and do it. So what you see is signing a deal on the 27th of July and start exploration on the 2nd of October. I think that's pretty impressive. This is my first mining company to be in control of, but it sounds like a really good job to me. So we're pleased with the progress. The fact that the last month before we started, we had this strategy to start mining before the end of Q3, i.e. the end of September, and we missed it by 2 days. And then that time we had to go through the process of sifting out and then appointing people to run the project, drilling companies to come and do it. We did a CPR, I think in August as well, to help us map out the areas which we were going to drill. So all that work was completed in 3 months, and I think that has to be down entirely to our Chief Operating Officer, Cedric Simonet, who I know you've spoken to before. He loves his job. He works in Africa. I spent there 25 years there, and he's absolutely invaluable to the company and to the projects that we've got. Just to put it into context, that we've reported before, the previous owners mined the projects about 10, 11 years ago. They were looking for fluorite, and they drilled something like 196 holes. So our drilling program slightly overlapped some of the work they were doing. They were looking for fluorite, not rare earths. But in part of what they were, or where they were drilling, there were some intercepts found, not particularly deep, like 4% total rare earth oxide, which is a very high number for rare earth oxide. So we're reinvestigating some of the areas that they found these intercepts to see if we can find a big long floor of a seam of rare earths, like Pensana has got their project, but also through geologists' work, we've identified maybe there's 6 areas in total. So 2 areas were what the previous owners mined, and then 4 new areas that we believe are the right places to drill for rare earths. And I was there at the project a week or so ago and had a walk around the site. It's a massive old volcano. It's about 4 kilometers across, so it's quite large. And there are carbonatite rock protrusions coming up, and they're easily recognizable. Once you've seen one, you know what to look for. And I was saying, wow, this is, they're all over the place. He said, don't forget that carbonatites are incredibly rare on Earth, but they just happen to be found in various places in Africa. And when you do find them, for example, in an old volcano crater, they tend to be quite popular. So I think Monte Muambe, from very early sort of desktop work, could be important. And I said, we've started drilling now. We're looking to put in 39 holes, and we're doing 2 different types of drilling. One is diamond drilling. So we extract the full core, which we divide up into meter-long interviews and get it assayed, and we're also going to do some downhole investigation as well. And then the other 34 holes are going to be, 35 holes will be reverse circulation. So the drill comes down and it just brings up chunks of rock and soil. And so there's different ways of interpreting what you have there. Both are important for identifying the rare earth metals that we hope we're going to find there. So that's the program we're underway with. Rainy season starts at the end of November. We will do as much as we can in the 6 weeks we have left to us. If we don't finish it before the rainy season starts, then we'll have to come back at the end of rainy season, which is probably the end of February, to complete it. But in the meantime, whatever we do recover will be sent off to the lab for analysis, which I believe takes about 3 months. So fingers crossed, we should get some sort of data into the market by before the end of March next year. That's our hope. It's not our guarantee. To possibly give some sort of resource estimate, so we can finally establish a valuation for this first project of ours, because currently we have no valuation attached to Altona. The share price is basically what shareholders think it is. There isn't a comparison to peers. There's no asset valuation. So this is the first target shareholders should be looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it sounds like a drill program not to be sniffed at. 39 holes there, and you've got the diamond rigs as well working. Is the goal then, after the drilling program is completed and it's gone off for assay, to actually announce a resource? Is that the objective here? So that people can then compare?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I was talking to Cedric earlier, like an hour ago. That's his hope.
Okay.
But it depends on the quality of the drilling, and depends on the quality of the results. But if we can do that, fantastic. The plan obviously would be, if from the initial results we find it to be sufficiently fruitful in rare earths, we'll start phase 2 immediately afterward, which is a further extension of X number of holes. I can't remember how many, but we're not going to start infill drilling, but we'll certainly be doing maybe another sort of 50 to 100 holes.
Mm-hmm.
They said it's a big area. The 6 targets that we've identified probably still only cover 25% of the crater. So there is lots and lots to look at.
The RNS mentioned as well that you've already got some core to the surface, and investors can look out for some pictures. Is that right?
Yeah, we're just in the process of processing them as well. I've made some videos. I made sort of a video diary whilst I was there. 6 short sort of 1-minute videos, just to give an impression to shareholders of the conditions, the climate, the terrain, the conditions that we're mining in. I was surprised when I got there. It was a sort of a 10-hour, 11-hour drive to get there. We arrived in the dark. The last 7 kilometers is off-road. It's down a sort of a weathered mud track, which hasn't really been used for the last 10 years since the last company left the site. So when the rainy season comes, it washes away part of the road, and it's a very difficult access road into it, so much so that the drilling team, a company called Spartan, who specialize in drilling in that part of the world, struggled to get their rigs with all the equipment on it into the crater itself. It took them close to 48 hours from the bottom of the outside of the crater to get into the crater. So this is what we're dealing with here. But the initial cores have come out, and we will send photographs. We'll post photographs onto the website of those, as well as a few videos. So shareholders who have never, or investors who have never visited an African mining site in the middle of the bush can actually see what it is we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I say, because I was mightily surprised by it. But what is so impressive is everybody who's working there knows exactly what they're doing. They've knuckled down, and it's all systems go to complete it before the rainy season finishes.
Okay.
Sorry, rainy season starts.
Sorry. Indeed. And how has this program been planned then? I guess that Cedric has been heavily involved in the planning of this. Do you have high priority targets here that you're going for? And the diamond rigs as well, are they targeting more interesting areas as opposed to the RC drills?
Yes, they are. So the 4 holes for diamond drilling are on the sort of key targets. Mm-hmm. But the drilling it's in 6 different locations, or 6 different patches. So the drill holes aren't too far apart. Mm-hmm. There may be 1 diamond drill, and around it there could be sort of 6 or 7 RC holes, just to confirm what the diamond hole shows. So it's a logical process, I think, but planned by a geologist who has done this hundreds of times.
Okay. Well, a final question then, Christian. Of course, the London Stock Exchange main market listing. Have you any idea? Last time we spoke, it was you were expecting it around the end of September. Of course, these things usually do take a lot longer than people hope for, and there's usually a few back and forth. But any idea on timescales now?
Yeah, I don't think it's delayed. I think I just may have been slightly over enthusiastic about when we could do it.
Okay.
We're a small company with a new business with one single asset with a small board. So if you think about putting all the information together for Altona, it shouldn't take long. And yet our prospectus is now over 100 pages long, for example. We submitted it as the sort of process goes to the FCA. They ask their questions, they send it back to us, and then we fill in the blanks and send it back again. Pretty confident that the final draft went off last Friday, and the FCA normally comes back within 5 days. That's their policy. Okay. So our team on this, our IPO team, think we're going to get an answer on Friday. If it's good news, if it's we have no more questions, then we get sent off to something called the eligibility committee. And I think when that happens, we'll be able to announce a date to the market of when we're going to list. And then we have to galvanize ourselves because we're looking to raise a couple of £1 million extra. We already have, after the last placing, just over £1 million in the bank. So a key for a mining exploration company, we are fully funded with the amount of money we have at the moment to the end of phase 2 at Monte Muambe. This extra cash will allow us to follow the strategy to acquire a couple more rare earth companies. I think it's just very quickly worth saying that part of the trip to Africa, I spent 3 days in Malawi with Akasweri Mineral Resources, with whom we signed an MOU last July. Mm-hmm. So we sat down there because, again, they now have, and we did announce this, they now have been granted the license to the Chambe Basin Rare Earth Project, which they applied for about 18 months ago. So that's been granted. So we sat down to negotiate terms for a deal, and I hope that we've reached an agreement. So I think within the next sort of 10 days or so, we'll be announcing news one way or another, whether we've been able to secure this new acquisition or whether or not the terms that we proposed haven't been accepted, and so therefore we'll have to look for a new project. But I'm fairly confident. I think that's the best way I can say that.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, Christian Taylor Wilkinson, the Chief Executive of Altona Rare Earths, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much. Cheers, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.